Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Sean Sutton out here in Lakeway, just right outside of Lake Travis here in Austin, Texas. And this morning I've got something kind of interesting for those of you that are either you live here or you're moving here from out of town, or you've lived here a long time and just wanted to know some cool stuff. There's an insurance agent here in Lakeway, and his name is Victor Thompson, and he knows all about insurance. And I've been communicating with him for about 6 years now, back and forth. He's pretty active in the community, and he knows what he's talking about. Anyway, this morning he was kind enough to give me a few minutes of his time, and I wanted to ask him some insurance questions that normally you don't get answered, but are real important, especially with the different things that go on. Especially in Texas, the different kind of coverages there are. The dock coverage, hail coverage, all the different things that can happen. So without further ado, come on with me. I want to introduce you to Victor. Come on down here.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Victor, what's going on?
How's it going?
Here he is, right here. We got the man. We got him for a minute. I know you're busy. Appreciate you taking a few minutes with us.
Oh, no problem.
Cool.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we've got everybody here from Facebook all around everywhere, and most people wouldn't ever think to want to talk with an insurance guy or know what an insurance guy knows, but you've been doing this a long time, haven't you?
I've been doing it for 21 years now out here in Lake Travis.
That's a long time. You always seem to know what you're talking about.
Thank you.
And you're always willing to help and provide information, which to me is really, it's unique and valuable, and I appreciate it. You're not looking for the sale necessarily. You're trying to provide information to help somebody and educate them. And you've done that for me, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
While we're here, what I'd like to ask is, what are the different types of insurance, like homeowners insurance? I mean, there's everyone has a program and different ones, and you guys seem to have a pretty good one.
Yeah, there's a misconception that home insurance is home insurance, but in the state of Texas, the Department of the state of Texas for insurance actually approves different forms for companies. Now, we have the broadest form approved in the state of Texas. It's called a broad form all risk policy.
Okay.
Now, what's neat about this policy, John, is it covers the slab of the house.
Okay, this is important stuff, right? Because we have slab issues here in Texas.
We've had a $90,000 slab claim in Lakeway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
And that's covered by us. Most companies don't cover those.
Okay.
A real unique thing too is we cover boat docks.
Okay.
So, and almost nobody covers boat docks. There's just a few companies that do. For instance, last week we had a gentleman who had a $200,000 boat dock on Lake Austin. He just bought a nice big house. And he went with us primarily because he knew that we covered the boat dock on his house with no extra charge.
Wow.
The other big companies, they don't cover the boat dock, so it's a big deal.
So what does somebody have to do if they're insured with someone else and they have a boat dock? They have to get separate insurance for the boat dock?
Yeah, or they just don't have coverage. You're not going to be able to find coverage just separately for a boat dock. They just don't know their boat dock's not covered in most cases.
So they find out the hard way.
Yeah, they'll find out after a fire or whatever the case.
Or damage, or if somebody gets hurt or something like
Someone
that.
drives a boat into it.
Oh, wow, right.
Could be anything.
Because there's no speed limit on Lake Travis, guys. Wow.
No, or Lake Austin. It's free for all. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's pretty unique. That's one thing that I picked up immediately with you was the boat dock coverage. Because if you're going to live in Austin, the ultimate is to have a house near the lake or on the lake or one of the lakes, and of course a boat dock is coup de grace if you so would. That would be it.
Yeah.
What about another thing that we have, being that Austin is growing so much, especially Lakeway and some of these beautiful properties that have these great outdoor activities. What about like if somebody does short-term rentals on their property or wants to rent it out? Tell me a little bit about that, because that's something that you can't find either.
Yeah, and that's real important. Most companies won't do short-term rentals, but we do have Foremost, the Division of Farmers, that writes the short-term rental. And what's neat about it is the policy itself will say short-term rental on it. And basically in the state of Texas, if somebody has a home insurance policy or a rental home policy, the regular rental house policies, neither one covers short-term rental. It's a totally different type of policy.
And then one other thing, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's also important, which came to mind real quick. If somebody's selling their house and they bought another house somewhere else and they move their stuff out of their house, I've listened to you talk a little bit about that before. They might not be covered, huh?
They might not. And by state law, after 60 days...
60 days.
Yeah, if everything's been moved out of the house, say they moved back to California and they're trying to sell the house here, if it's an empty house after 60 days, no insurance company will cover that.
Except
we do have a policy that says a vacant home on it. At the top, that's exactly what it's for. It's for a vacant home.
Okay.
It will cover it, and it's a pro rata refund policy. So if you sell the house 90 days later, you're only paying for 90 days of a policy.
Okay, I have one that I slipped my mind that I need to get you on immediately on that. Okay, we have a house that the folks moved back to Oregon, and we need to get that on the policy. Okay, we'll get that handled later today. And then last thing, I know we're running long here, but it's important that people understand and know about this. Tell me how you help somebody that's relocating into Austin. If they're moving here from out of state, obviously, or something like that.
Yeah,
this is important.
By state law, by Texas state law, if you move from, say, New Mexico to Texas and you're already with farmers, you still have to rewrite it to farmers in Texas.
Okay.
But it's real easy. We'll bring them in here. We'll review their policies, get them set up with farmers. What's neat about farmers is if they have a house, say, in California still, the discounts cross state lines. So, some companies do, some don't, but we do that. And it's easy. We write them right in here, and
that's cool.
We do it all the time.
One last thing came to mind. Really, you don't see too many disaster type of things in Texas, but we do have hail. Yeah. And hail seems to be it'll wreck a nice car, it'll tear up a nice roof. So you guys do a lot with hail damage. Your deductibles are different and stuff like that.
Yeah, we're the only policy the only company I know of that we still have a 0.5% deductible that you can get for hail damage on your house.
Oh, okay.
Most companies don't offer that. So it's a really big deal. You don't have to buy the whole roof if you have a hailstorm. You have a smaller deductible. Not a big premium increase for that. I have that on my own house.
Well, good. Okay, you guys, that's a lot of information fast. I hope you found it interesting. If you're either moving to Austin or you currently live in Austin and you want to know a little bit more about your insurance, just to kind of get a quick check of how it's what is actually covered and what's not, and what it would cost you in the event something goes wrong, I would highly recommend that you contact Victor.
Thank you.
All right,
Sean. Appreciate that.
I appreciate you guys giving us a few minutes. Have a great weekend. Here we are Friday. See ya.